Hello and welcome back here. In this video, what we're going to be doing, what I'm going to say first is I've been getting a lot of our requests from people that want for me to do a video of how to cut in, okay? Because they want to be able to cut in freehand and they don't want to have to use tape here, okay? So I try to come up with a method here so that you at home can practice on your own. Now, the unfortunate thing is that you don't always have a room or door casings or window casings that you can practice up against here. So what we're going to be using is the laser here, okay? And you can just practice cutting in right against the laser here. Now, if you have a room that has already been painted and you don't want to paint it, then what we're going to do is we're going to apply some painter's plastic right on top of the wall here, and then you can just throw this out, and you don't have to worry about all the cut lines that are in the wall, and then repriming the wall, and then repainting the wall here. So what we're going to do is I have a damp sponge here, okay? Now this wall has an eggshell sheen, so it's fine to put some water on top of the surface to create the suction to make this plastic stick. If the walls are flat, don't use this because you don't want to get a flat paint wet here, okay? And if you don't want to use the plastic, then that's fine too. You can always tape up some cardboard and then cut on top of the cardboard. But here we're just going to be putting up the plastic. So I'm just going to wet down the wall right here. And the water is basically going to act like glue, or it's going to make the plastic stick to the wall here without using tape or whatnot. So again, I just have some painter's plastic right here, okay? And while this is wet, I'm just gonna stick this up, and I'm just gonna try to pull this down to get rid of the ripples and whatnot, but we're just gonna mainly just try to focus in the middle here where the lines are. And if you have some problems that aren't sticking, just add some water there, and we'll just add some more water here so this doesn't fall down here. And again, I'm smoothing this out here. Okay, so you can cut in with whatever size brush that you want. It's all a matter of personal preference. And I always like to use an angular brush when I cut in. So again, we're gonna be using a Corona, and this is an 1.5" angled Chinex bristle brush here. Okay, and I just have a gray paint in here that we're going to be using here. So a few things. It's all about the technique, okay? One is you're always going to be a little bit nervous when you cut in, and your nerves sometimes will get the best of you. But the more times that you practice this, you're always just gonna get better and better. So a few things before I start here. The angle of your arm is important. From when I look at myself on film, I think that I always most likely have my arm, whether it be my right or left arm. The elbow is bent at a right angle, okay? And anytime that you position a body part at a right angle, it's going to give you a lot more power. You're going to be stronger. And from that right angle, of course, you can go a little bit more, so it's obtuse or shorter, so it is acute. But still, the happy medium is a right angle here, okay? And if you use the right angle, then you can work all day without getting tired or whatnot. And so that's one thing. And like another thing is, I basically just come close to it on the first coat, and then when I drag it down, I just come close within like a quarter of an inch, or sometimes like an eighth of an inch. It depends on if it's getting one or two coats, but for you at home, just come within like a quarter of an inch. And sometimes if that is too close, then go back off to a half inch, and then on your second swipe, work that paint a little bit closer to the center here. So I'm just going to load up my brush here, and again, I'm dipping it in like a quarter of the way in. That's the most that you want to dip it in. There's no reason why the paint should get way up the brush, okay? Because then it starts to dry, and then it gets in the stalk of the brush, then it dries in the stalk, and you don't want that. So when I dip it in, then I hit it on either side of the inside of my cut ball bucket, and that's going to get rid of some of the paint from the sides, okay? So what I'm going to do, and I hold the brush just like this, okay? This is where I think I have the most control, and I can do it effortlessly. There's some people that I see, they hold it back here, and you don't want to do that, because I mean, you could do it, and I've done this when I'm trying to get at a high spot because the ladder is too short or something like that. But for the most part, I grab the brush right here. I have my thumb there, an index finger on top, and these three fingers on like the back side, and I grip it real light. There's no need to squeeze in. If you squeeze in and then try to apply it, you're never, it's not going to go on as effortlessly, and you're going to have more control with an easier grip, okay? And you're going to be able to move the paint around here, okay? So I'm going to load up again and tap it to either side. We're going to start on the right-hand side of up here, okay? So I'm just going to come into it like a quarter of an inch, drag it down, and as soon as I drag it down, it's going to leave a lot of paint there. And then what I do next is I push in and go back up, okay? And that's going to release the paint all right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back into it and work it further to the right of the laser line there, okay? So, and it's, when I'm trying to teach this, I want to go as slow as possible, but in reality, you can't go slow. You just have to do it in like one glide. So I'll just come up, okay, and then I'll come back up, and that's going to rid my brush of the paint. So I'm putting the paint from my brush onto the surface, okay? And now what I'll just do is come into it, okay? And now you want to fit, now there's a lot of paint on like the outside, so you want to feather that in so you don't have any lines there, okay? So that's what it looks like there. And now I'll come in, I'm just going to try to get, there are some of the ripples in it, but we're not going to worry about that. Again, if I'm doing a horizontal cut, I'm going to work it like that, and now come back into it. Okay, now there's some bumps in the plastic there, so it's not really that smooth of a line, but this is just for the sake of the video here. So that's going to take care of that there. Now, without trying to explain it, I'm just going to do it right here, okay? And it looks like we got a little paint on the wall here because I went to the right there, and it's gonna wipe that away there. Okay, so that's going to take care of that. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come across to this side and work with my left arm. So it's very important. You always wanna be able to cut with both hands here. So we'll come up here and bring the brush up. That releases the paint there. Okay, so that's going to take care of that. We'll pull this over on the horizontal side here. Okay, that rids the brush of the paint. Come back into it. Okay, and one more thing too is you don't want to hold your breath when you paint, because when you hold your breath and your body gets tight and you're not able to just gently or effortlessly apply it. So you always want to breathe here. So we'll come over here. And I think when I put my arm over here, feather that off there as to not leave a lot of excess paint, because then you'll get a paint line. Okay, and lastly, I'll pull across this one here. So your first swipe, don't worry about it. Just come within like 1/4 of an inch to be safe. Okay. And with the plastic up, you can afford to mess up or hit the laser and it won't be a problem here. Okay, so I hope that these tips and techniques will help you at home learn the art of cutting in. And if you learn the art of cutting in, it's going to make your life a lot easier when painting, because not only are you going to get more straight lines or crisp lines versus taping in, it's just going to look a lot better, and you don't have to waste the time of going and taping off the ceiling and all the trim. And then even if you do tape it all off and then you paint 1 or 2 coats, then you have to remove the tape, and then the tape is always going to tear off the paint that you just did. Then you got to go back and touch it up, and when you touch it up, sometimes that's not going to look good. But if you're serious about becoming a painter, whether it be interior or exterior, you have to learn to cut in, okay? Because it's just, you have to be able to work fast. And when you cut in, you can't cut in slow. So that's why I want you to practice by putting plastic, or you can tape a big sheet of paper on the wall and then just shine a laser like I have there. So I'll put this down here, and then I'm just going to show you guys the laser that I have here. And this is a laser that you actually put on your bicycle at nighttime so that other cars can see you. And you put it like below your car, or below the seat, and it puts like 2 lines on the ground so cars cannot see you and whatnot. But again, I'm using this to help in the aid of learning to cut in here, and you can put it at any angle you want here. Okay, so you can go up or horizontal, or you can put it on a 45, because you have to learn how to cut in on a 45 too, because some of the ceilings, that's how they're pitched. And to cut in on a 45 isn't the same as going perpendicular or up and down and right to left, because it's kind of it's a little bit more difficult, because not only when you cut in on a 45, you have to move your wrist and your elbow, but it's basically like the same thing, and you just move you keep the same angle within your arm and your wrist, and you just move your body to account for the distance that you're moving it. So I hope that you guys at home can now practice this on your own and hopefully become a better painter. So I hope that this video has helped you out, and I look forward to hearing your comments in the future. So I'll see you guys on the next one.